Well, the world of cameras has become an increasingly complex place with not only the traditional players, but new players entering the space. But one of the folks that's been doing cameras for a long time is JVC. And Dave Walton is the Assistant Vice President for Marketing and Communications with JVC. Dave, thanks for joining us today.
Larry, it's good to be here.
For those that haven't been paying attention or are new to the industry, give me a one-paragraph description of what JVC is doing in cameras, in monitors, and professional video.
Well, this year, JVC is introducing 8 new camera models at the NAB Show. 4 of them are conventional HD, and 4 of them are previews of 4K camcorders.
You know, one of the things that I'm really curious about is why are camera manufacturers releasing so many cameras and so many different formats?
Because the applications dictate that. The camera you would use for shooting ENG news, electronic news gathering, is going to have different features, different requirements than one you would use for cinematography. For example, a shooter in the field who's chasing a news story wants a long depth of field, they want a very long zoom lens, and they want a camera that is solid, is supported on their shoulder, they can carry around all day without fatiguing themselves. But those features are not the same features a cinematographer wants, where they want a shallow depth of field as opposed to a long depth of field.
Now, one of the things that I remember seeing at the JVC booth last year was cameras that had Wi-Fi on them, so that we were able to monitor the camera after or during the shoot. Do I remember correctly?
We're not only doing that, this is one of the things that we're demonstrating in the booth. We have a reporter in California, somewhere in a parking lot out in Agora Hills, who's talking back to our live presenter on the stage. And as he's talking, you see an HD image of him over the stage, and it's all coming through a Verizon modem. And he does not have a satellite truck, does not have a microwave truck, not using Wi-Fi, he's using a 4G LTE Verizon modem. His image appears on the stage. It's worked flawlessly for the last 2 days. And while he's talking, our presenter on our camera stage can adjust his camera, can set his zoom. So he can be a one-man band out there. And he says, how do I look? And let me close your iris down a little bit, and let me zoom in a little bit on you, and now we'll go live to air. And we're doing one other thing. In the booth, we're showing a product called Stream Suite, which is a self-contained, single-box switcher for up to 4 cameras that will accept wireless streams from the cameras, and you see everything on one screen, preview monitors. You can touch each camera you want and then send your output live after you do effects. And if you happen to be doing sports with that, you can even do slow-mos and replays right on that single box.
Well, I can accept grudgingly that we have to have multiple cameras for multiple uses, but do we have a different codec for each camera, so all of a sudden in post we're having to wrestle with 800 different codecs on our systems?
In the case of our HD cameras, no. We support all of the major formats, record them all, whether it's XDCam EX or H.264, ABC HD. It requires 2 codecs in the camera because we can record 2 formats at one time. Bottom line is that you can put these into a Final Cut Pro system and drag the files right onto the timeline. You don't even have to wait for ingest because we match the codec in the editing system.
For editors that want the highest quality, the closest thing to uncompressed, and all these are compressed formats,
yes.
Which one would you recommend?
Probably the H.264 50 megabits, because that's going to give you the least amount of compression artifacts, and it's going to give you the best quality. We manufacture our own chips, our own CMOS chip manufactured by a JVC subsidiary, AltaSense. It's the most advanced imager in the market. It's a Super 35 millimeter imager that can do 4K up to 60p. We put that into 4 different model cameras. One's a shoulder-supported camera with a PL mount for cinematography use. It will record 60p, but because of our processing, we can also output live 4K at 60p, which a lot of people can't do. They have to rely on external devices to do that, or do the debarring later on. We can do that right in the camera. We have it in a handheld camera with an MFT mount. Just gives you a lot more lens options, more affordable lens options. Then we have a mini 2-piece camera that's small enough that we can put it on an unmanned aerial vehicle, a drone, and fly it around. And we're showing some incredible footage that we shot in Japan, flying a 4K camera around, recording 60p 4K right in the camera on solid-state memory, and that's flying around in 4K with a JVC designed gimbal, which stabilizes the whole thing.
Now, you mentioned that 4 of your cameras were previews for 4K. When do you expect these to convert from previews to real thing?
The mini camera, the 2-piece unit, and the gimbal for the drone will be in probably the third quarter of this year.
Okay.
They're planning delivery sometime around late August. The PL mount, larger shoulder camera, we're going to take a little more time on it. We realize that 4K is coming, but it's not coming as quickly as a lot of people would like to think. There's still some time on that. We're going to get that one right, and it may be a year out.
A year out?
Yes.
So somewhere, but the second half of this year to early next year for the 4K cameras.
Right, and the HD models we're shipping.
One of these days, I will watch that level. I've been surprised in every show. Where can people go on the web to learn more about the JVC cameras?
All the professional products are on pro.jvc.com.
That's a website. It's www.pro.jvc.com. And Dave Walton is the Assistant Vice President of Marketing and Communications for JVC Professional Products, which means cameras. Dave, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.